It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
Thank you for tuning in to your favorite 15-minute podcast. Might actually be 15 minutes tonight. There's a really good chance we're closer to 15 minutes than any other podcast in the history of this podcast. Back in the day when they were 10 minutes pretty much on the dot. We're not going to be that accurate today, but I think we're going to be close to 15 because right now I'm recording this at halftime of the Blazers game. It's nearly 11:30 p.m. Blazers playoff play-in game. They're up on the Suns right now at halftime, 65-62. So by the time you're listening to this, the game is over, and I'm either extremely happy and tired or extremely angry and tired. I love the NBA playoffs. Today on the podcast, got to talk about something that happened to basketball the other night. Get that off my chest. We're going to talk about outer space, maybe Uranus, and then a food item that I really dig. I might talk some. I think we need to talk some frozen pizzas. Anytime frozen pizza stuff makes the news, you know you're going to find me discussing it here on the podcast. So I think we'll do a live look into a pizza review that we'll talk about. Also, we've got some big news coming up either next week. It could be beginning of next week. I'm underselling that. Huge news. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. If you don't listen to the rest of today's podcast and you skip Fridays, maybe Monday's episode with some crazy news. We shall see. I'm excited about it. We'll get more into that, I promise. But let's start in the basketball court before we talk pizza. It happened on Monday night. Playing basketball, the age is catching up to me. I'm 44. I'm feeling it. Playing against a bunch of guys who are in their 30s. And now lately we've had a bunch of guys in their 20s. I don't have it. I don't have it like that. There's a handful of guys that I just can't hang with. Two of my buddies, Josh and TJ, are just they're in better shape. They're youthful. They're stronger. They're faster. It's frustrating. And so I get matched up against them some nights, and then there's other nights there's 20-year-olds on the court, and I can't hang it all. But I'm still loving it. It's still my favorite hobby of them all. I never want to quit playing basketball. I want to play forever. I will say we played 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours on Monday. My body hurt so bad all Tuesday. It hurt. My knees, my feet, everything was just, hurting for certain. Tons of fun, though. But I had a moment of basketball, and it was just one of those, what are you doing? Embarrassing moments. One of my favorite things about basketball, pickup basketball runs, is getting a run where it's regulars. It becomes regulars. It's my favorite thing about I've beat a dead horse talking about it, but Peaceful Valley, back in Spokane, once in a lifetime basketball run. It was amazing. And so one of the things I loved about it was that you made lifelong friendships, the camaraderie on the court, to the point where, it could get crazy on the court, physical, irritated, angry, but we had built such good relationships. When the games were over, everyone was friends. And I love that. I love that part. So, we've got this run on Monday nights here that I want the same. So I'm trying to build the friendships. I'm trying to build the relationships. I just think it's a great group of guys, and it's fun when you're talking trash a little bit, and it's fun when everyone kind of gets to know some of the personalities of guys that you don't necessarily know when everyone's just quiet playing games. I really like it. Well, one of the kids who's there is younger, in his younger 20s. He showed up a handful of times. Great kid, good player. Caleb is his name. This is important to the story. But I'm getting old, and I'm starting to lose it a little bit. I struggle with names in general. When someone comes up and says their name, I don't know what's going through my brain. Nothing, apparently. I will tell myself actively, going into a situation where I know I'm going to meet people, I will tell myself, pay attention to their names. If anything, just pay attention to their names so that the name is bouncing around in your brain somewhere. It will be the one thing I don't pay attention to. And I will put my hand out and say, I'm Sean. And they'll say, I'm Caleb. And I don't even hear the I'm. My brain is 50 billion miles away. There's the Uranus talk. My brain is at Uranus, and their brain is at my mouth. So, anyhow, it's just frustrating with me and names. I hate it. So I'd met this Caleb kid. He's great. Nice guy. And on Monday night, he's the only guy in the gym whose name I can't remember. And I couldn't also remember what the connection was for him being there. So I'm doing this thing like I'm an NFL head coach who isn't hanging out with Diana Rossini. So any of the other NFL coaches, I'm holding my shirt over my mouth as if Caleb is looking at me, walking around asking people, hey man, what's his name again? The guy with his fingers in a splint. What's his name again? I could just walk up to him and be like, hey dude, I forgot your name. What is it? But no, I've got to be cool about this. So I'm asking everyone. Walking around, I'm like, pulling my shirt up over my mouth so Caleb can't sniff me out for not knowing his name. Making it more weird if he was watching me. Also assuming that he's just always watching me. Just really a bad look. Anyhow, I go up to TJ. I'm like, hey dude, the dude's name. He's like, oh, he doesn't have it. I go over to Mike. I'm like, Mike, what's the dude's name? He's like, I don't remember. No one remembers this kid's name. So I start to feel a little better about it. And finally, I go to Ben, who is great dude, also in his young 20s. And I go up to Ben. I pull the shirt over my mouth. I'm like, hey, dude, do you remember the dude's name over there in the corner with the splint? And he gives me a look that is like, are you an idiot? I was like, yeah, I don't know. We can't remember his name. What's his name? And I have to repeat it like twice, 3 times because he's just dumbfounded. And finally he goes, Caleb? And I was like, yes. I was like, Ben, I knew you'd remember. I knew it. Young brain. Thank you. Young brain. And I'm joking with him about it. I'm like, oh, to be young. Oh, to be youthful. Right. I'm being loud about it because that's what I do. I'm like, thank you. Oh, yeah. And about 4 minutes later, we're in the game. And it's when I'm reminded why Caleb is even at our game at all. Now, Ben, who I asked for his name, Ben's been at Hoops for 2 years. He's been there always. And when they reminded me something that I knew, not only did I know about, the last time Caleb and Ben were at the gym, I joked about it the entire night. They're brothers. They're brothers. And so I'm over here like, yeah, dude. Hey, dude, that guy in the corner, who's your freaking brother? Do you happen to know his name? Yeah, it's Caleb, my brother from forever. And I'm like, the young brain, man. Young brain, you know. Hey, I knew it. You got a young brain. You can remember anything. Oh, I remembered my brother's name. Super embarrassing. I didn't own it. I didn't go over to Ben like, yeah, dude, that was on me. I just pretended like nothing had happened. And then I spent the rest of the night going over the top about brother jokes. Like I knew the whole time they were brothers. It was bad. Bad luck basketball. Too many minutes spent on that. But that's just where my brain's at my age. I can't even remember. I can't remember guys' names. I can't remember that they're family. I want to say I need to be quiet playing basketball, but it's like my favorite part of the night is talking the whole night. Okay, I wanted to talk about outer space, something that was interesting. My daughter had never really seen outer space stuff, right? The rockets red glare into outer space, and the space fans had their week last week as, was it Odyssey? Artemis 2? I forget what all the parts were called. Artemis 2 is what it is? Got sent up to outer space. The 4 astronauts go around the moon, come back down to Earth, and I just happened to, with Anna had brought it up. She was like, look, I think the astronauts come back tonight. This is the other night. She's like, I think they come back tonight. We should watch it. I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I love space. I love the idea of this. And so Anna brought it up to Olivia, and this blew her mind. We watched the entire 2-hour and change video live stream of the astronauts coming back to Earth. The whole thing. We watched all of it, and Olivia was glued to it. A couple things with that. Astronaut undefeated. Undefeated since forever, since astronauts started existing. When you ask a kid what do they want to be when they grow up, for those of you who were kids who wanted to be an astronaut and are worried that that's going out, and now they just want to be a streamer or a content creator, no. Astronaut exists. Ask my daughter. She was like, oh, I have to be an astronaut now, Dad. Mom and Dad, I have to be an astronaut. There's nothing cooler than what I just watched. We had to go back and we watched launches of rockets. She was amazed with that. We watched other astronauts come back to Earth and, have the pod parachute into the ocean. It was amazing. She was mesmerized. So I really enjoyed watching that with her. It was really cool. Now, NASA. What are we doing? I think we want to promote people staying interested in going to outer space. And you want people like my daughter who want to continue to be astronauts forever. You always want someone to be an astronaut. If you are in the space program, if you are in NASA, what does NASA stand for? Something Space Association. Let's see. NASA meaning. NASA meaning is a bad search, but here we go. National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So I had one word right. It was space. Anyhow, you would assume NASA wants there to be more astronauts. What happened with the coverage of that? That was some of the most miserable coverage of an amazing event. Now, we sent 4 humans into outer space around the moon and back. Okay? An amazing accomplishment. There is a tiny, minuscule, teeny tiny pebble amount of people who have gone to outer space. An even smaller little pebble in the beach of human existence who have gone around the moon. And 4 of them are coming back to Earth. And the broadcast. Now, the guy who did the broadcast, he was fine. His voice, he had a great voice. He had content. But whoever put together the packaging for this, throw us some stuff. Throw us some games. Throw us some trivia. Give us some interviews. I don't know what it was. The coverage from NASA was dreadful. And you may be yelling, Sean, it's science. This is serious business. Okay, well, you can serious business yourself right out of business. Because you need people like my daughter to stay interested. So you got to play to the younger audience at some point. You have to. Because they're the ones who are going to keep you going when they get old. The old heads who you're apparently trying to get to enjoy this by talking really slow and boring about this return, they're all going to die soon. And then what? They're not going to go to space. They're going the opposite direction of outer space. You want people who can still go up to space. And I just thought I was very bummed out. And I know that next year there's the plan to go to the moon. That the next rocket ship in this is going to the moon to land on the moon. We got to have better stuff. You need to go to the Twitch streamers out there, the big ones, and say, okay, we need you to take over the graphics and the way that we're going to broadcast the space trip to the moon. Because that's what we need. And the old people who are mad about it and barking, up the tree at your broadcast, they're all going to be dead, right? They're going to be dead. And so you're not going to have to hear from them much. So you got to play to the young audience. I really hope that they do that. Shoot, have a secondary channel, NASA Youth, NASA Fun, the YouTube channel NASA Fun, and just have a secondary broadcast that we all watch that's way more enjoyable than what they did. So that's my beef with outer space. I love it because my daughter's interested in it. I'm bummed because they've got to improve their selling it to me. I got to take a drink of water while we give you the Kelly's What Are You Into Open.
Kelly's What Are You Into?
So one thing you got to know about me is I love a frozen pizza. I got to give a shout out to my guy Darnay. D-Trip. What is his? I don't know what his handle is. Darnay. What is Darnay Trips? What is his professional Instagram? Again, something NBC7. Let's see. Gosh dang it. I get Darnay Trip NBC7. Go follow him. How many followers does Trip have right now? 3,200? I mean, that's embarrassing. He needs way more than that. Darnay Trip NBC7. Go follow him. He covers Padres stuff right now. So you can learn a lot about the Padres from Darnay. He sent me a message the other day, a text message, and it had a picture of it, and it said, we all know one homie who still eats like this. This is what the the post he sent is. And it has a plate with chicken nuggets, mac and cheese. I forget what dessert it is. It's chocolate with like sprinkles on top of it, some Little Debbie's product, and a wine glass filled with chocolate milk. And, you know, the caption says, we all know a homie who still eats like this. And then he just said, it's you. I can't really argue that. It is. I mean, I had both mac and cheese and chicken nuggets this week. I'm not a big dessert guy, so I didn't do the Little Debbie's snacks. I didn't have chocolate milk this week, but the week is young, so I've got time for that. Anyhow, he's right. I love to eat really crappy food. So I am notoriously a lover of frozen pizzas. I got to go to the Daily Meal, where the Daily Meal ranked the 9 thin crust frozen pizzas ranked worst to best. Okay? So I wanted to take a look at the top 5, and let's see where we're at. I am not a big thin crust frozen pizza guy. My go-to is Red Baron classic crust pepperoni. Okay? Now, I used to be only Totino's frozen pizzas. I still love them to death. I don't think I've had one in 2026. That probably needs to change sooner than later. But I love a Red Baron classic crust. I think they're delicious. I think that's the pizza when it comes to frozen pizzas. But I'm not afraid of a list, and I'm not afraid of getting a thin crust pizza. There was also a list by The Takeout that came out this last week, and it was the best cheese frozen pizzas. I will not even do that one the service of opening it. That is not a real pizza. We've talked about this just a few weeks ago. Cheese, crust, and bread is like you made a pizza without the toppings. That's just the bread to your sandwich. You forgot to put the sandwich materials on it. So I won't give that one a try, but we'll try the thin crust. Here's what we got. The 5 best thin crust frozen pizzas. Number 5, Great Value thin and crispy crust. It might be the reason why I did this list. You gotta love it, and I always appreciate it when there is a list that gives some love to the grocery store's name brand item or store brand item. And Great Value, of course, is the Walmart brand, and their thin and crispy crust is apparently really good. I want to try it. Number 4, Screamin' Sicilian, I'm thin and crispy. So I guess Screamin' Sicilian is the brand, and I'm thin and crispy is the name of their thin crust pizza. I'm thin and crispy pepperoni pizza. That's number 4. Number 3, the DiGiorno's thin crust original. This one looks good. I do like DiGiorno's. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno's. What happened to frozen pizza commercials? Do they still happen? The Tombstone commercials when I was a kid were insane. And they made me want frozen pizza so much. Tombstone pizzas. What's on your tombstone? Oh, they were so good. And DiGiorno had a good run also. I don't know that they're still making frozen pizza commercials now that I say it out loud. That's a bummer. But DiGiorno thin crust original, number 3. Number 2, California Pizza Kitchen crispy thin crust. There has never been a food brand I have wanted to connect with more than California Pizza Kitchen. I think their packaging looks great. I like California. I like pizza. I have always wanted to like California Pizza Kitchen. When I see one in an airport, there's a long run where I was always going to California Pizza Kitchen and spending $20 for half a slice of pizza in the airport. But I wanted to fall in love with this brand. I have not done that yet. So maybe this would sell me on it. The California Pizza Kitchen crispy thin crust is number 2. And the number 1 frozen pizza that's thin crust, according to the Daily Meal, is a pizza brand I've never tried before, which is crazy. Newman's Own thin and crispy crust. Honestly, I never know. I don't know. Every time I see pictures of Randy Newman, I think that's his name, I have no freaking clue what he was. Was he an actor? Was he a musician? Was he a food guy? I don't know. He might have been all of them, but he seems versatile. This article says of all the pizzas on the list, Newman's Own thin and crispy pie, cooked the most evenly. The crust was almost miraculously identical from edge to center, both on the golden, freckled bottom and the sliced cross section. Oh, hey. The pork and beef pepperoni was rich and meaty with a good hit of spiciness. There's plenty of it. All right, so if you want to try, according to the Daily Meal, the number one thin crust frozen pizza, it is Newman's own thin and crispy crust. All of these were tried with just their pepperoni, their basic pepperoni version. So there you go. There's your list. And that gives you something to look forward to this weekend. Go to the grocery store, grab a couple of these. I really want to try the Newman's Own, and I really want to try the California Pizza Crispy, or California Pizza Kitchen variety, because I want to fall in love with that brand. All right, thanks for listening. This is your favorite 15-minute podcast, signing off on a Wednesday.